All right, let's jump into this one. You sent this over. It's an article from The Independent from March 18th, 2025, and it's all about a new Kanye West track.
Oh, yeah, this one.
But there's a lot more to it than just a typical, a new song dropping. We've got his daughter Northwest in the mix. We've got Sean Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, and Combs' son King Combs.
Wow.
And to top it all off, there's some legal action from Kim Kardashian. So this deep dive, our mission is to kind of like navigate this whole situation, figure out the key players and what it all means.
Yeah, it's almost like this event is the center point for all these different like personal dramas and legal battles, and everything is just kind of colliding.
Right, and all under this huge microscope of public attention.
Yeah.
So the song itself, Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine, Wes shared it on his Twitter feed on Saturday, March 15th.
Okay.
Now here's where it gets interesting. The video that goes with it, it's reportedly just a blank screen for 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
Really?
It's just a blank screen. The caption lists the featured artists, Kif Daddy Feet, his son King Comic Harris, my daughter Northwest, and new Yeezy artist from Chicago, Jasmine Williams. I mean, a blank screen. It really makes you focus on what you're hearing, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When there's nothing to see, you have to really listen to those voices and try to decipher what they're really saying, especially with all these big names involved.
Yeah.
It feels intentional.
And here's where it gets even more complicated. Sean Combs, as this article reminds us, is currently in prison waiting for his trial.
Right.
On some pretty serious charges. Sex trafficking, racketeering, which, by the way, for those listening, racketeering basically means organized crime, so it's not light stuff.
Definitely not.
But there he is on this track. You hear him talking on the phone, thanking someone for taking care of his kids. He even says, ain't nobody reach out to them, ain't nobody call them. Then Wes comes in and says, absolutely, I love you so much, man. You raised me. Even when you know what I'm saying. I mean, that back and forth right there raises so many questions about their relationship and why West would choose this moment to do this.
I mean, it is a big statement, considering everything Combs is accused of, for West to publicly endorse him like that. His words, you raised me, hint at a connection that goes way back, maybe to the very beginning of West's career.
Possibly.
And for Combs to be speaking from prison, expressing worry for his kids, it adds another layer to all of this. It makes you wonder what West's motivation could be.
Right. And then on top of all this, we have West's daughter, Northwest. She's 11 years old.
11.
And you can hear her on the track. She raps the line, when you see me shining, then you see the light.
Wow.
Now, the article mentions that she's worked with her dad before, and last year she even announced plans for her own debut album. So clearly she's trying to build her own music career.
Interesting.
But for you, the listener, this really brings up the question of how do you balance family and a career, especially with all this public attention, especially when you're that young?
Yeah, and to have her involved in a song with someone facing such serious accusations, it adds a whole other dimension to it, especially when you consider her age and that her mom is trying to be protective. And she obviously has her own musical talent, but it makes you wonder, how much of this is her own choice versus her parents' influence? To be involved in something like this at such a young age when Combs is facing these charges, it raises some big questions about reputation and association.
Yeah, and then the article shifts gears and starts talking about Kim Kardashian taking legal action.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, before the song was released, West shared screenshots of a private conversation he had with Kardashian, on TMZ no less.
Oh, no.
In these messages, West allegedly says, I'm never speaking with you again. Kardashian supposedly responds with, I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name. You said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her. One person has to trademark.
Yeah.
So right away, you can see there's this big disagreement about Northwest being on the song and the whole idea of trademarking their children's names.
It's wild.
Kardashian saying that they had an agreement to trademark all their kids' names when they were born to prevent anyone from using them without permission.
Smart.
And West's response to all of this allegedly was pretty strong. Amend it or I'm going to war, and neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're going to have to kill me.
Oh, my goodness.
It sounds like their co-parenting relationship is really strained.
This whole trademark issue is fascinating. It shows this side of celebrity that we don't often think about. This need to control and maybe even profit from their kids' identities because everything is so commercialized these days.
Right.
It's not just about stopping someone from selling a T-shirt with their kid's face on it. It's about controlling their brand and their influence in the future. And Kardashian saying they already agreed to trademark their kids' names. It just shows how important this is to them and that they were already thinking about protecting their kids' identities. It really highlights the pressure and challenges of raising kids in the public eye, especially when your personal life and business interests start to overlap.
And then to wrap things up, the article mentions that West had that anti-Semitic rant on social media recently,
Yeah,
which got him kicked off ex Twitter. So it makes you think, maybe all of this isn't so surprising. Maybe this song and all the drama around it is just part of a larger pattern of behavior.
that's a really good point
Uh,
because West has a history of making controversial statements
mhm.
and doing things that get people talking. So this
Right.
whole situation with Combs and Kardashian might not be a one-off thing. It could be part of a larger pattern that's designed to get attention, whether it's positive or negative.
So for you, the listener, this isn't just about a new Kanye West song. We're talking about family dynamics, legal battles, the fallout from public controversies, and how personal and professional lives get all tangled up when you're a celebrity.
What I find really interesting is how all these things are connected. Like Northwest's music career is directly influenced by what her father is doing with his music and with his public image. And then you have the tension between your parents, which affects how much she's allowed to be in the public eye.
Hmm.
And bringing Sean Combs into it makes things even more complicated. It makes you think about the responsibility that artists have when they choose who to work with, especially when that person is facing such serious legal trouble.
Let's talk more about Northwest being part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
The article mentions that she's worked with her dad before and that she wants to be a musician. So in a way, you could see this as a dad supporting his daughter's talent, sharing his passion for music with her.
Yeah, it fits into that whole narrative of passing down a creative legacy within a family.
Yeah.
And you could say that this gives her a huge advantage in the music industry because she's getting experience and exposure at such a young age.
Right. But on the other hand, she is so young. She's only 11. And all this attention from the media and the public can be a lot for a kid to handle, especially when you're connected to people who are constantly in the news and sometimes for the wrong reasons. And then there's the fact that this song features someone who's accused of some really serious things that could have a negative impact on her career before it even really starts.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if she really understands what she's getting into and if the adults in her life are thinking about what's best for her in the long run. Are they more focused on getting her attention now, even if it could hurt her later on? Kardashian wanting to keep her daughter away from this project is completely understandable given all of this. It really shows the tough choices that parents of child stars have to make, trying to balance opportunity with protection.
Then there's the relationship between Kanye West and Sean Combs West, saying that Combs raised him, even though they didn't actually know each other personally. It's a really strong statement. It makes you think that Combs was a big influence on West. Maybe even when West was first starting out in the music industry. Or maybe even shaped how West sees the world.
It could have been a mentor-type relationship from afar. Maybe Wes was just really inspired by Combs' career and what he'd accomplished. Or maybe it's just a deep level of respect and admiration. Combs has been such a powerful figure in the music world for so long. It's totally possible that he had a big impact on how Wes developed his own views.
For sure, but to publicly support Combs like this while he's facing these huge accusations, the timing is definitely interesting. It makes you take a closer look at their relationship. It really makes you think about loyalty, what it means to support someone when they're accused of something terrible. Does West feel like he owes Combs something? Like he has to be there for him no matter what, even if it hurts his own reputation? Or maybe he truly believes that Combs is innocent and he wants to show everyone that he's standing by him.
Yeah, those are all good points to think about. It's also possible that West's reasons are more complicated than we realize, something that the article doesn't really touch on. He's known for challenging the status quo and doing things his own way, so that could be a factor too.
And the fact that West and Kardashian are fighting over whether North should be involved and about trademarking their kids' names, it gives us a glimpse into this whole other side of fame, this side that's all about business and money.
It's so true. Kardashian wanted to trademark their names right from birth. It shows you how much they have to deal with constantly. People trying to use their image to make a buck. They're just trying to be proactive and protect their kids' interests and control how their names and faces are used in the future. And her saying that she and West already agreed to this, it shows how important this was to both of them and that they were on the same page about it.
Right, and then West's reaction, threatening to go to war and saying that neither of them will recover from the public fallout. It's intense. It makes you wonder if this fight is about more than just this one song. Maybe it's about who has control over their kids' lives and their careers. Who gets to make the decisions?
It definitely highlights how complicated things can get when your personal life and your professional life are so intertwined, especially when you're going through a high-profile separation and you're trying to figure out how to co-parent. West's language makes it sound like he feels like he's not being listened to or that someone's trying to take away his power as a parent.
And then we can't forget about West's anti-Semitic rant and him being kicked off X Twitter. It's a reminder that he has a history of controversial behavior. And that definitely influences how people are going to see this whole situation with the new song and the drama with his ex.
Yeah, it creates this context of someone who's known for being unpredictable, someone who often does things that cause a stir. It adds another layer to his decision to work with Combs and to have this public fight with Kardashian. It makes you wonder if this song release is part of a bigger plan to get attention. Like maybe it's all a calculated move.
So, what we've learned from this one article, it's a lot more than just a simple story about a new song release. We're talking about how families work, especially when they're famous. We're talking about legal battles, the impact of what you say and do in public, and how those lines between your personal life and your work life can get really blurry when you're a celebrity.
And the whole thing about trying to trademark their kids' names, it really highlights how much money and business is involved in being famous, something that we don't always think about.
Totally.
And Northwest being part of this whole thing, it brings up some important questions about how we protect children who are in the spotlight. Should they even be in the spotlight? How much say should they have in what they do? It's a fascinating case study.
It really is. At the end of the day, this deep dive into Lonely Roads, Still Go to Sunshine, it's about more than just a new song. It's a glimpse into the lives of these public figures and their families. It shows just how complicated things can be and how one decision can have a ripple effect on everyone around them.
So now that we've gone through all of this, what stands out to you, the listener? What makes you think more about the boundaries between private and public life? Or how tough it must be to raise a family when the whole world is watching? Maybe you're thinking about how your reputation can affect the people you choose to associate with, or about the laws that are supposed to protect children. This one event, starting with this one news article, it can really make you think about a lot of things.
Yeah, it really can.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.